First News with Keeler in the morning on WIBX and WIBX950.com.
Of course, we've brought in well over $40 million in grants, and we've spent it all over the city. There was a DEC cleanup last year at the building complex for Rome Cable of over $14 million. That just doesn't happen overnight, the demo. So I think that, overall, yesterday, the lieutenant governor came specifically for these events in Rome, but she made a point to stop in Utica at MVCC and announce $6.5 million.
Yeah.
When you can't overlook any of that.
When you look at what has happened in the last 10 years, it's less than 10 years, but let's just use 10 years. And don't forget the arterial project. Don't forget Marcy. When you look at the investment into the region for transformational investment that will change, has the potential to change our world and ultimately will, it's well over $1 billion.
Oh, easily.
Yeah.
Well, you just said something that's really interesting. Because we have so much going on, suddenly Cree has become a backstory. Here's a company that's investing $1 billion in our county. And, of course, all of the funding that's going on top of that from the state, EDGE, everywhere else. And we're in the jobs that are coming, and we're talking about all of this other economic development. So I think that really bodes well for our area.
I agree.
A serious question here, Mayor Izzo, for real. You said there was about 6,000 jobs currently now at the base. Forgive me for not knowing this, but what was it at the height of its
that's a great question. So we're actually now exceeding the base employment probably by around 1,500.
Exceeding?
Plus.
Wow.
Exceeding.
Yeah, it was in the 5,000, low 5,000s, right? Somewhere in that range.
It was in the higher 4,000s, I would say.
Right.
But we're doing this now with a very diversified business sector. We aren't just relying on the government. For sure, Rome Lab is the linchpin. It's the cornerstone. That's driving a lot of the development. But we now have 2 warehouse distribution centers there for major companies. You have office complexes that are servicing medical, not just defense-related. Hotels. Yeah. We have hotels. You have the unmanned aerial systems that are really, that industry is growing. We have light manufacturing there now that we never had, Christech Wire, Sovina Olive Oil. So if something were to happen, we wouldn't be gutting the entire park.
Right.
Like what happened when Griffiths left as a military installation.
Almost as if Amazon were to come in and build a giant facility, and all of a sudden they decided to move, taking nearly 5,000 jobs with them. And if you recall, the one thing that we always talked about in the area was how the Turning Stone, the United Nations, was able to replace those lost jobs that left the base. Now you have the base with more jobs than originally existed there. Plus, you have what's going on at the Turning Stone. So it just shows that there is a direction that is a positive direction right now.
Well, prior to the announcement of Orgill bringing the distribution center or Cree, we knew we had probably 200 to 300 more jobs coming to Griffiths from these other industries, plus the lab. So we were trying to fill those slots before we even started talking about the new businesses that we've thrown on top of it. And then, Air City Lofts has been quite a success story. 100% occupied in Phase 1, waiting list on Phase 2, going to start hearing about Phase 3 here pretty quickly. That's how much demand there is. And it's not just people in Rome. We're having people now move here from around the county to those apartments.
Yeah. Okay, Ted and Ann, stand by. I'm going to get right to you. Somebody asking from Utica here, Mayor, being critical of Mohawk Valley Edge for plucking businesses out of Utica and putting them into the base. That's one of the gripes that the city of Utica has. Can you talk about that? Do you disagree with that?
I don't really see that. I mean, I think some people will point to maybe the olive oil company, but from my understanding, they couldn't grow any further where they were.
Right. Yeah, the Utica business.
We have the rail spur system at the Griffiths Park. Those trucks, and they do a lot of rail work there that brings the oil in. they're pulling right up to their back door because of where they could locate the facility, and they built a brand new facility. But when I look at the park, I just don't see that. You'll have some of the tech companies, but very few. As a matter of fact, there was a tech company in Utica that was looking at the park and decided not to. But some of them came over because they had to do business directly with the lab. They needed to be in closer proximity because their people might have had to integrate into the lab more often during the day. But really, if you look at the number of companies there now, I really can't talk to you about too many that were Utica-based that are now in Rome.
Ted is in Rome with a question for you, Mayor. Ted, good morning.
Yes.
Go ahead.
I'm here.
Yep, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just wondering, the other nice papers in Rome they had from down by Revere, the Paul Revere, the horse they used to ride at night with the lights.
Yes.
And I would think that would be a good thing to get that up and going again, either with Brian O'Shaughnessy and that. Rome is known as the Copper City, and plus all the revitalization you're doing down in East Rome and that. That would be. As a kid, I was born in Rome. I was born right on Turn Road next to the Aiken Farm, and I can always remember coming to Rome at nights years ago. My parents seeing that horse lit up.
Yeah.
That would be a great attraction for Rome. It'd be just like down in Utica with the brewery and that. But I think that would be a great thing to get going again. Even though there's an offspring living up there now, but there's ways of handling that in the future. But all these
Ted, thank you for your
wonderful.
All right, Ted, I'm going to hang up and let the mayor answer your comment. Mayor?
Yeah, we appreciate this. We hear this quite often. I think, first of all, people need to understand the sign is owned by Revere Copper and Brass. It's not owned by the city. So the company came out a few years ago and explained that in order for them to regenerate that sign, it's got to be totally rebuilt. It's probably about a $500,000 project. So they couldn't take that on at that point. And so we have to respect that decision. But we're doing other things in the city, I think, that we're trying to. We've got an old tower that we lit, water tower, that was part of the General Cable Complex. We're looking at the one now that was Rome Cable. That's high in the air. We're looking at doing a restoration project of that tower and pointing it to a Rome designation as a tower. So there are different things. I know people really remember that Revere sign. We all do. But I think we have to respect that the company just cannot afford to do that at the moment.
All right. Very similar
of the Utica Club
Very
sign.
similar to the Utica Club sign, which is up much smaller than it used to be, but it's now up in a very efficient way here. Ann.
That is a very cool sign in Rome, by the way. I love it.
No doubt about it. Yeah. Ann in Rome. Hi, Ann. You're on with the mayor.
Good morning, Jackie. I just want to tell you, I remember going up to the base for air shows, and it was a city in itself. And when the base left, I would have never thought that it would have come back to the way it is now, better than ever. It's absolutely beautiful. Not only you can live there, there's places that are opening up, the restaurants and things to eat. Great job. Hats off to you. Great job yesterday with the opening. I heard it's a state-of-the-art building. We need it. We need more manufacturing. Thank you for what you're doing. Good job.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ann.
Thanks, Ann. I think that everyone forgets there were a lot of players in the Griffiths Park. And in the beginning, Joe Griffith was the mayor, Ray Meyer was county executive, Tony Pacenti was working for the state, Steve DeMio was there from day one. A master plan was built, and really there was a lot of discipline to stay focused on the master plan to rebuild the park. And now we have military four-star generals come here. They cannot believe that this is a former Air Force base. They tell us, bases do not look like this. They're thrilled. They are really happy that we followed through and built the housing. They told us a lot of communities talk about this, but they don't actually do it. And so we are doing this to secure our workforce, to secure our military facilities so they don't leave again, and then, of course, to build a new park, a new business environment around, and I think we're being very successful with it. And finally, our next goal is with the new housing, the single family, the apartments. We are finally stretching the former base property, marrying it with the city so that we're all one.
I want to ask you one final question on Rome Labs. There's so much going on there, most of what we don't really even know, but a lot of high-end research being done there for the military and for security, NORAD and the Northeast Air Defense. With all that going on, I remember we used to do breakfast deliveries when I worked back on Rock 107 in the days. And back in the day, and you'd get stopped at security. No, can't deliver today. Security is high. What kind of security is there that we may not even know about over at Rome Labs?
Well, that's exactly the goal of what we call the Security Fence Project.
Yep.
The lab, DFAS, who's really never had a secure installation, will be going back to that sort of an environment. Eastern Air Defense Sector already has that. So there will be a new visitor center built as part of this project, which will be inside the gate. There also will be a commercial truck inspection facility, which we don't have and most military installations do. So this fence project, security-wise, is really securing this installation of the laboratory, DFAS, in Eastern Air Defense Sector to be almost an active duty station now.
Okay.
So there's quite a bit of security, and that's why the community pushed and helped to build Innovari Advancement Center. So now the lab has a state-of-the-art facility where they can bring people in an unclassified environment and collaborate on research and development. I think that's going to be a sleeper for us. I see people coming in there not for a day, but for a week or 2 weeks or a month. They're actually going to stay here, and the possibilities there are endless in quantum computing, AI, just everything that the lab is involved in. To now be able to bring these people from academia and other research and development organizations to a non-classified environment is huge for Rome Lab.
It is an unbelievable facility.
And a short answer, it's top secret, Bill.
Yeah, but I listen. I've toured I've toured that, and with the what do they call it? The dome that's going in for drone testing and stuff.
Sky Dome.
It's just it is really incredible, and I feel like this investment has got to help when it comes to keeping Rome Labs in Rome and keeping DFAS and all of what is done there that the government is continuing to invest. When the base closed, it didn't really close, right?
Everything that we are doing is to strengthen and solidify Rome Labs' presence. The amount, and anyone will tell you this, what we hear back from the Air Force, they've come to realize the level of human talent that they have in that lab cannot be duplicated around the country. They know they can't just move it now, and they'll move the people and the talent with it. It doesn't work like that. So we're really making great strides, and it's up to the community to continue looking for more ways that we can help strengthen their presence here. And Innovari Advancement Center and the Security Fence Project are two of those things that really, really help.
All right, Mayor, we appreciate your time. Got a lot of ground today. This might be our most effective interview that we've ever done. We got a lot of stuff done here.
We did, and we didn't even talk about the virus.
Yeah, we didn't. Boy, that feels pretty good, doesn't it?
Yes.
All right, great. Listen, Honor America Days tomorrow. Take advantage in Rome. Great place to be. Do something and feel like we're all back to normal. Mayor Izzo, thank you so much.
Thank you, and have a great weekend.
Yep, you do the same.
This podcast is sponsored by Ramp. Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's business cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp's software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp for free. Just go to ramp.com/easy. Ramp.com/easy. RAMP.com/easy.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members of FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.